Nervous, climby finish to stage 11, and Tinkoff Saxo's Rafał Majka can't believe the Garmin's Andrew Talansky is off the pace on the first categorized climb of the day. The Dauphiné champ went so far as to dismount briefly at 50k to go, but rallied to ride on, Cameramoto chasing him the whole way. Excellent publicity as his squad simultaneously running gambit at the front of the field didn't really pay off. A flurry of attacks went up the Côte de Choux at 41k to go, with Omega Pharma Quickstep's Jan Bakelins and Tinkoff's Nick Roach bridging up to early break Martin Elmiger of IAM. Two others bridged, but the gap was never huge, and Roach soloed away on the Cat 3 Côte de Chalon at 19k to go, but was caught by an extremely aggressive chase on the tricky descent. As the field regrouped at 13k, Lotto Belisale's Tony Galopin attacked, and Cannondale's Peter Sagan found himself lured off the front by aggressive descending from Tinkoff's Mick Rogers and OPQS's Michal Kwiatkowski. The trio caught Galopin inside 5k to go, but the Lotto rider went again at 2.7k, knowing that the other two wouldn't tow Sagan. Galopin rode in just ahead of the sprint, while Talansky did eventually finish ahead of the time cut over half an hour later. Talansky did not start the next day, which was still hilly enough to drop a few sprinters, as FDJ's Arnaud Demar sticky bottles past Giant Shimano's Ji Cheng, the spent pace setter who put him off the back. Anyway, break went and whittled down to Garmin's Sebastian Langeveld and Orica Green Edge's Simon Clark. Europcar sent Perique Kemenur and Cyril Gauthier after them at 30k, Giant Shimano's Marcel Kittel was dropped by his own team's Chase 2k later, Clark attacked, Langeveld was like, whatever bro, the Europcars caught up to the front of the field, but everything was back together at 5k to go. The run-in was hairy, some dissent about what lines to take around a traffic island at 4k, then Greipel getting tangled up with, wait for it, Sylvain Chavanel. OPQS took over the lead out at 800 meters but couldn't keep it strung out. After shouldering off Demar, Katusha's Alexander Kristoff launches just outside 200 meters, and shortly afterwards, OPQS's Matteo Trentin dives around his lead-out man, chopping Giant Shimano's John Degenkolb and effectively leaving the rest of the sprinters fighting for places in the Norwegian's wake. First or category finish of the tour, big break in Yablel, I can't believe Oss's hair either. Skipping to the final climb, FDJ and Movistar set tempo before Tanel Kengard. Nibali's last remaining Astana teammate caught break survivor Alessandro De Marchi of Cannondale and dropped second place GC rider Richie Porte of Sky, something Nibali felt compelled to confirm visually. NetApp Endura's Leopold Koenig made the first serious dig, getting clear with Tinkoff's Rafał Majka 11k out. Neither rider threatened on GC, but Movistar's Alejandro Valverde accelerated anyway less than a k later. Nibali responded, as did FDJ's Thibaut Pinot. Belkin's Laurens ten Dam fell back from a previous attack, and the group was clear. Pinot, locked with Auger Desert's Romain Bardet in a simultaneous battle for podium place, the young rider GC and best Frenchman, did the bulk of the pacemaking and led the chase of Nibali after the Astana rider attacked behind a passing moto at 6.3k to go. But the Italian would not be caught, completing the bridge to the lead duo. In his wake, Valverde made some serious punches but couldn't shake Pinot, a good thing for the FDJ rider as Bardet had found a willing companion in BMC's TJ Van Garderen in the next group down. At 3.3k, Nibali finally rode Koenig and Majka off his wheel for the solo win and the KOM lead. Valverde, now second overall, lost 50 more seconds to Nibali, while Bardet rode Van Garderen's wheel all the way to the line, dropping only 30 seconds to Pinot and bumping himself up to third place overall. Can't quite make out his number, but this Garmin rider definitely had the boldest P-break of all time during the rollout, though Demar's use of a fan's camper van for a similar but more serious purpose, not joking, should deserve at least an honorable mention. Astana, and somewhat surprisingly NetApp, chased most of the day, leaving Katusha's Joaquin Rodriguez to retake his KOM lead over the Col d'Izoard. Back in the field, Auger Desert tried unsuccessfully to distance Pinot on the descent, while De Marchi attempted to reprise his final breakaway roll before Majka brushed by him at 9k to go. Auger Desert continued pacemaking duties and even had Jean-Christophe Perrault mark the first attack from Pierre Roland, though the Europcar rider changed his mind about wanting to get away almost immediately. Fortunately, Perrault was able to go with Nibali's real attack about a k later. Van Garderen, less than a minute ahead of Perrault on GC, took up the chase following an attack by Valverde, but a second surge from the BMC rider split the group with the Movistar rider on the wrong side of it. Ahead, Majka ground out the win, which also tied him for the KOM lead with Rodriguez. Nibali just distanced Perrault for second, while Bardet and Pinot finished in a two-up sprint ahead of Van Garderen, who saw his GC advantage over Perrault drop to under 20 seconds. Whew. Nice, easy day, and LOL JK, crosswinds, and now it's pouring. Plus, the final few K had like a trillion roundabouts. That was good news for breakaway duo Elmiger and Garmin's Jack Bauer, as was OPQS's odd choice of using a series of solo flyers on the run into the finish. But as Europcar's Kevin Reza showed just outside the final kilometer, it was definitely fraying some nerves in the bunch. There was a real scrum for Mark Renshaw's wheel in the final K. Greipel bumps out Europcar's Brian Cocard, then comes back across the road to almost cut off Kristoff before the two of them launch side by side. Kittle's back here and won't sprint, but watch Sagan weave through these gaps, including past the luckless Bauer, reeled in with just meters to go, to finish third, behind Heinrich Hausler as Christoph took his second stage. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.